Bez Hashem, we're going to learn our weekly Tanya. Baruch Hashem, we're just after a beautiful Chag Shel Pesach. It was awesome, moedik, gevaldik, and beyond. It was a lot of hard times as well, but in those harder moments, there's a opportunity to get a lot of matanas, gifts on the inner level, and that's part of what we're doing here by learning Tanya. We're learning about the panemius, the inner light. And we're dedicating our learning to Hannah Bas Svi Hirsch, who just passed away recently, Baruch Dayan Emes, and it should be Eli Nishmas for her neshama, and for the whole family. Should be comforted amongst all the mourners of Kleiswell, including the Avlei Sion and Yerushalayim. So Bez Hashem, we should be blessed by doing our avoda for a healthy summer, and to take the important teachings we've got in Tanya. We've been learning about the concept of the neshama of Klal Yisrael and getting more neshamadik, more identifying with the nefesh elokis. The more we identify with the nefesh elokis, the more we'll have the ability to have true avos Yisrael, because we'll remind ourselves it's not about ego, it's not about the guf as in terms of the priorities, it's about the nefesh elokis, and then that will give us the ability to really tune into the oneness, the Einskeit, the oneness of Hashem. And we mentioned this at the Seudot Moshiach, Joshua. I spoke Lel Shabbos as well by Aryeh Polstein's Tish, and just do a very short summary of both speeches because they were connected. Was in the night I spoke about how by being by Tzaddikim, we have the opportunity. I told a story from Rav Simaya Zilberberg, a few stories of his impact in waking up neshamas, and also I told a story about how he was. I woke up one time on Shirat Pesach early in the morning before Alas Shachar, and he was sitting there, and the whole olam were getting ready to sing and get ready to make achanas for the shira on Shirat Pesach. So that was a very powerful moment in my beginning years in Eretz Yisrael, and that opened up a lot of giluim, a lot of revelations for me in davening, the koyach of davening, the koyach of preparations, alas shacha, and the shira, the simcha, the giluim, the revelations that you have from doing the shira with proper koyach and preparation from learning all the achanas in the night before and all the learning before that, and to bring that into the whole year, into the shira for the whole year. And as we mentioned also the Seudot Moshiach, that every day we say the Az Yosher, every day we're learning in Tanya the importance of the nefesh elokis getting lit up from the davening, from the avoda we do on a daily level, and to tune into the awe of the shira, and not just to let this chag pass, but bring the awe of the shira, the song, the asid, the simcha, and the avoda, and the koyach, to get rid of all the klipas and all the negativity, to enter into the realm of neshama. And that's by doing the shira every day and every year, specifically on Shusha Pesach, we get like a chazkas, a strengthening in that, and that's something we should realize very strong, with a strong emunah and a strong betochen, and very clear emunah shleima from the Chag emunah. As we mentioned at the Shalat Sudas, at the Seudot Moshiach, the idea that we're getting a tremendous chizuk right now in a strong way, that we need to believe with absolute faith that this is the emes, this is the absolute emunah, that this is the emes, what we're doing in Avodas Hashem. It's the ultimate formula for success, and there's nothing else that compares, and we have access to it, and it gives us courage to not be afraid of anything, including all the technological developments of AI and everything coming, that we have the power to elevate it all through putting in the correct prompts, the correct formula into the system that's around us, and to transform it into elokus, into godliness. And then we have that power from Shirat Pesach, which is the Or La'asid, the Shir La'asid. It's the song of the future, the light of the future that's coming down now. And I've told another story from the Kalev Rebbe, how he did a different avoda, how it was more at the night time, and so there's different times to bring down the shira, in the midnight or alas shacha. Personally, I did it about 5 times. I did it twice in the night and 3 times in the day with the family and in the shul, and and with Bazooka de Zimra and the Kriya. The point is, either way, it should all be past Yeshua's, and we should be mechavein that our avoda has koyach, has effect, and all the chag that we just went through of Pesach, all the matzahs and all the Mesiras Nefesh for a clean home and to protect ourselves from chametz, and that purification we went through in a ruchnius way has power, and it strengthens our emunah, strengthens our Yetzer Tov, and gives us koyach to go ahead with the Shirat days, with the right headspace, from Midas Chesed, where we're climaxing today, with Malchus Chesed into the sphere of Gevurah, and the avodah of Gevurah being focused and focusing more and more on the davening and the learning. And so we're gonna do that now. We're gonna continue on with chapter 32 in Tanya. Marsha Kosev. We have the lessons in Tanya this time, so it's clearer. Marsha Kosev Shukamar Shemisha Roy Bechaver Shechata. As for the Talmudic statement that if one sees his friend sinning, he should hate him. In fact, it's a mitzvah to hate him. V'gam lomer l'rabo shasino, and so too that he will hate him. How does this confirm with what we said above? Hainu shebacharei b'torah b'mitzvahs. This applies only one's companion in the study of Torah and the observance of mitzvahs. The sinner in question is a Torah observant scholar, but lapsed in this one instance. In this case, the sin is much more severe than usual. Since it is written that even inadvertent misdeeds of a scholar are grave as deliberate sins, because when a Talmid Chacham sins, it's much more a heavy thing. But even this general assumption of gravity of his conduct is not sufficient to cause to hate him. As Alter Rebbe continues, yet another condition must first be satisfied. So we have to fulfill what's called the injunction, you shall repeatedly rebuke your friend, which is once again something we have to bring it for our generation before Mashiach comes. We're mamish right at the end. That's why I mentioned also this Mashiach. We're right by the finishing line. So the Simaya Zilberberg, this is what I brought from the Kunshas there that you kindly gave me. That is, Simaya Zilberberg brings down that it's ein kleinigkeit. One little good mitzvah, one little thing is going to bring Mashiach. So this is the generation we're in. We just have to do one more good thing. If we're focusing on all the things we're not doing, it's the wrong headspace for our generation. But nevertheless, the Tanya is saying this. The word here used for the friend, as the Talmud points out, im seisecha, him who on par with you in the Torah and the mitzvahs. He who is on par with you in the Torah and mitzvahs is written in Sefer Charedim. So he's on the same level on a certain level of understanding. To exaggerate the gravity of a sin is clearly deliberate transgression. So such a person who's his chover is, so let's go to the Rebbe, because the Rebbe's going to explain it. The Rebbe's addressing the difficulty inherent requirement to hate pious and scholarly Jews who lapse on occasion. So this is one of the things I'll be honest, I did give a little bit of mussar to the Haredi world, being that a lot of my Yiddishkeit journey came from that world, is that they're in the Daled Amas, and they don't really want to share their awe in a revealed way online or publicly so much. They keep very hidden. And I do feel that the Rebbe, the Babitcher Rebbe, was pushing the world to get ready for Mashiach, and part of that is to have the confidence that we are in a generation we need to share that light. Now look, it's not going to always be easy. I try to share that light all the time, I screamed out the Seder night, someone needs to share that light to someone like Joe Rogan, and Mummy was like, don't mention him at the Seder night. But the point is that, we need to get the truth to the more influential people out there. And the fact he even was talking about Shtreimals yesterday, and someone who had a website, Jew in a City. So they were explaining, the lady there was explaining all about the history of Shtreimals, and in this most famous non-Jewish podcast there is in the world, was talking about Shtreimals and showing pictures and saying how they're very, very strong hats, show that they're people who aren't worried about what people think about them. That they believe in. You didn't believe in what we believe in, and we're not scared to express it. And that was a Kiddush Hashem in a way. So we know that comes from the Masorah from the Baal Shem Tov, the weather about Shtreimal, and it's the Tkalav Rebbe got me a Shtreimal to remind me that Derech Chinuch, the education is the Derech of the Baal Shem. And the Derech of the Baal Shem is about bringing unification. So now you have a guy who's not willing to share that light. or he's doing things that are, God forbid, like proper sins, that one might learn from that so piety was on a similar level to one's own, but is less likely to learn behavior of a non-observant Jew. So he's making a chiluk that you're more likely to learn from a Tanya Chacham who's making mistakes than someone who's not. The Rebbe rejects this on several grounds. The requirement to hate the sinner were based on fear one might come to learn from him, then this hatred should be directed at a sinner who's in contact with oneself at any level, not necessarily one's peer in Torah observance or scholarship. To avoid imitation of the sinner, it'd be enough to keep one's distance from him. Why the need to hate him? Number 3, the whole concept of someone to be hated not because of someone hateful about him, but to protect the hater is most difficult to accept. Because this requires one to actually suffer harm himself if failure to do so might lead to the remote possibility of harming his fellow. So you have to really go out of your way of harming him, to not harm him. So that's the thing. In order to forestall possible harm to oneself, or that to forestall harm that could fall only if he failed to resist his own evil inclination. Clearly, then, a requirement to hate the sin is not intended to solve one's own problem or learning from his sinful ways. Do not consort with a rasha. Or to difference between one's peer and the Torah mitzvahs grounded. I don't know. Okay, it's difficult, complicated concepts. As I said, for our generation, generally the eitzah and the derech, and some even say we're not able to rebuke our fellow anymore, because we don't have the emes, we don't have the true intentions anymore. So we're just turned into machlokas. So generally, I personally stay away from rebuking people. Maybe here and there you can just suggest your own personal opinion of what you do, but you can't really, you can ask people questions and you can ask them, but to rebuke them, I don't think it's something that we're really on a level to do l'shem shamayim, and to be able to therefore not fall into gaiva or machlokas. I don't think it really it serves, if it's not going to help improve them, and if they're not going to listen anyway. So one of the things I realized over the years that most people aren't willing to listen. Doesn't matter how big they are in terms of how the public view them. Most people don't want to hear your rebuke. Even if they hear it, they're in a position where they're not able to apply anything from it, because there's certain reasons why they're doing what they're doing. And those reasons can be very strong, like personal things, family reasons. You have to melamed zchus. Everyone's got their reason, and it's hopefully they're not doing averos. We're talking about just certain ways that create division, God forbid, or they're not sharing their community in the best way, or different things. You try to give advice, and generally people don't want to hear it. So, there is such a thing, Baal Meah, Baal Dea, that if you have a lot of power, money, then people do listen a bit more. But even those people should realize, the more powerful people, that there's a way to do it and not to overly wield their power, and because maybe they're not always right. Have the humility. Just because they're successful in an external sense doesn't mean that they have the ability to tell everyone what to do. Anyway, but as to one who's companion in the Torah and the mitzvahs, nor is he on intimate terms with him. Not only is one not enjoined to hate him, on the contrary, he must in fact try to come closer to him, as Alter Rebbe states. So here we go. To hate such a sin is surely unjustifiable, since no sin that he commits is considered deliberate. There is also no reason to keep one's distance from him out of fear that he will learn from his evil ways. So it says, do not fraternize with wicked man, since he's not close personal terms with him in any case. Here we're going to get clarity now. Aharon Shalom. Shalom, the Torah. He doesn't say the whole Mishnah, but that's the Mishnah, that you have to love peace, pursue peace, and the Torah. This is the hemshech, the end, that you have to love creatures, and draw them to the Torah. So the whole of creation, it's not just humans. Everything needs to be brought towards Torah. It's the Indian of Kiruv. And this is Hillel Hazaken, who we mentioned already, is the dogma, is the example of someone who's focused, identifying on his nefesh elokis. He took himself to the mikveh. His body is not him. His neshama is him. And he's the example of after even though he has it in a different way of saying it. We said the other day that you should hate what your friend hates, meaning like you don't do to your friend something you would hate. So either way, it's still a mitzvah of after and the concept is, and especially during the Sverah days we're in now, and it's Gevurah now. Gevurah, the biggest avodah of Gevurah is Hamtakas of Gevurah. Levi Yitzhak B'ditchev, Levi Yitzhak ben Sarah Sashi. We're talking about the Boston Rebbe yesterday at Dov Kram's house, because he had a beautiful picture with him, and he was an example, and his Alter Zayda all the way back to the B'ditchev himself. Even though their name is Levi, it comes from the side of Din, and Yitzhak is Gevurah. he was hamtaka of gevura, sweetening of it, through being so malamed schus, so being machazik. I had the merit to sit and share with him in the kollel, Boston kollel in Hanof, and you saw from him in the Hillel Shabbos shir that he gave his love for Yidden and his love for Torah and mitzvahs and the derech of the Baal Shem Tov. But even in our time, was when he was around, and as Chusaleinu, and this concept of hamtaka, of sweetening it. So Hillel Hazaken is also, he's someone who's sweetening it, but he's bringing us to the derech of Aharon Hakohen. Aaron is also on the side of Hod, which is the side of the side which is more shaykh to Gevura and Bina. But nevertheless, Aaron is Oev Shalom, Rodev Shalom. He's going after the Kohanim. We have a fire inside of us, even though we're on the side of Chesed, but there's a fire, there's an Eish, and we have to use that Eish for Avodas Hashem to have a love towards Am Yisrael in a fiery way. And sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes people test us, and we have to work on it. And Oyev it's a Brias Makav in the Torah. We have to draw everything towards Torah. Our goal is to bring everything close through loving peace, pursuing peace. I needed to hear this today because there's some things going on. I needed to just go in the dark and Shalom because sometimes it gets fiery, and we have to choose the path of Shalom over everything. And that was the derech I saw from Rosh Hashanah as well, being that his name's Shalom. But everything, there was a lot of controversy going on all the time, always trying to seek out the derech Shalom. But also, this usage of term creatures in reference to human beings means that even those who are far from Hashem's Torah, see, we have to be daik on that word, brias. Yeah, the creation, they're simply as creatures. And this is very important lashon. We must attract with strong cords of love. This is something Rav Simai Zolberg would quote a lot. The Hashem is doing this during this whole Chodesh of Nisan. He's attracting us with big ropes of love. If we're doing the Daf Yomi recently, Rav Eli Stefanski brought a video there, and he showed how ropes are made, because it was in the sugya, and they're big, thick threads and it's very intense how they used to be made in the old days, and they had to have all this technology of that time to make these twine and to join up all the different threads so they become strong ropes. And these strong cords of love is what Hashem's reaching out to us with. He wants to have, and this is what we need to do. We need to emulate Hashem and do that to all kinds of Jews, all kinds of creations, all kinds of creatures. We're here to draw close everyone. Perhaps thereby one will be able to after all draw them close to the Torah and the service of Hashem. And if one fails in this, he has not fulfilled the merit of the mitzvah of neighborly love, which is filled by his efforts in this direction. Yeah, so that's the idea, because he's trying. Yeah, we're trying. We're always trying to draw close people to Hashem, to Torah mitzvahs, and this kiruv, this whole lashon of kiruv. It's not such a well-used term anymore because it's been overused, like many things are nowadays. But we have to remember the pnimius of it is the Hashem's drawing us close with tremendous currents of love, especially right now, and we really have to tune into it and bring that with tefillas for Mashiach. That was the main thing we ended off with, just one little mitzvah, one little smile, sometimes we don't feel that way, but we have to try, work on ourselves to give over love, to give over Torah mitzvahs, to give over his chaskas, to overcome the darkness that surrounds us, and to really try and head towards a high level of path of love, and to bring close everyone, and you will never lose by trying, even if it seems you failed. You will never lose by keep going towards the path of Aharon Hakohen and Hillel Hazaken and the Tanya and the Tzaddikim, because this is what the derech of the Baal Shem Tov of Avos Yisrael, Avos Torah, Avos Hashem. This will bring Mashiach. The Avos Olam, Avos Rabbah is meant to change us, to fill us up with love towards the Torah and towards Am Yisrael. Yeah, that we want all of Am Yisrael to be in the land, all of Am Yisrael to have a shaykhis to Torah, all of Am Yisrael to be able to have connection to the oneness of Hashem and the devekus and the goodness of doing avodas Hashem, avodas shebelev. And this is the kind of love that we need to share all the time to ourselves, to our family, and not let the darkness of people around us, God forbid, pull us away. And that's why learning is so important, because it helps save us from God forbid, from the Yetzer, which creates division. And that's really the true message we want to share to the world, to people, to the likes of Joe Rogan and everyone else. This concept of united souls. a young boy came up to me after the speech. To me, it was probably the most important compliment I got after speaking, was other than we want Mashiach Tzidkeinu to be the one speaking, not me. But the second point, he said to me that he really liked the United Souls concept that I said at the end. And that's, for me, that's my whole brand. That's what I care about, is bringing unity and bringing souls together. And that really is, as hard as it feels sometimes, and sometimes people unfortunately do not good things around us, we still have to reach out with cords of love to their neshama and bring the neshamas close. Because in the end, they're all created by Hashem, and they have a neshama, they wouldn't exist otherwise. And we have to try to bring everything close. And therefore, the mitzvah of Techocha, we have to go in the derech of Rafael Shimshon Hirsch, who says Toch Ahava. Toch Ahava. Techocha is the end letters of Techocha is Ches Hey. Ches Hey is Gematria 13, says Rafael Shimshon Hirsch. So that 13 is Echad, 13 is Ahava. We have to Toch Ahava, through love. Only way we can really help our Yisrael is through the path of love. And as hard as it feels sometimes, but we're going to have to find in a deep, strong way. And we have to also be empathetic to those people who aren't feeling that love right now. They're feeling hurt and they're in pain. And we have to be empathetic. That's part of the love towards those people, and let them get out of that pain so they can get back to a place of Ahava. And Bez Hashem, with that, we'll be Zocher, with the Achdus and the unity and the Tefillahs, and just doing one more little mitzvah of positivity, one more chesed, one more moment of learning, one more good thing. That will be the Korach to be Mashiach. Mamish now, and this is the Zman, the end of Chodesh Nisan, Pasha Shmini. We're in the Olam HaShmini, we're heading towards the Olam HaShmini, the Yemos HaMashiach, the Yemos Shabbos, Yom Shekudah Shabbos, where we're going to have the Shir, the Asid, the song of Mizmor Shinim Shabbos, the B'Shleimus, and we'll see this. We have to bring it alive in our daily davening and our daily acts, but it will come alive for all the world. Amen.